Hello, hello, hello. Today I'm talking with Nethra. We talked about always wanting to be a teacher and agile with capital A versus agility.
I'm Ivanul from Who's Agile. My pronouns are he and him. Welcome to my channel. You see a lot of agilists around me on this screen. If you want to hear me interviewing, please click that subscribe button because these are the people that I've invited so far. If you think I'm missing people, let me know in the comments. And that like button, well, if you liked today's interview, don't forget to click it.
Hello everyone, and hello with me I have Netra. Is that how I should pronounce your name?
That's right. It's Nethra.
Netra, all
Yeah.
right. And just before we jump into the questions and everything else, I want to show people a little bit on where we are. I'm in Ghent in Belgium and Europe, and we're going to the UK to rugby, where you are at this point. Well, maybe not the exact location. The goal is, of course, not to help stalkers, but just to give an idea on where we are. That also shows us a little bit for the people that know a little bit European environments. The time limit. So I'm recording this. Well, it's half past. What is it? It's 12:30 or almost 12:30 in Belgium, and I guess it's 1 hour less in UK
That's
at this
right.
moment.
Yeah.
So that shows us a little bit time zones wise, and that's the goal of recording things, or
Yeah.
the advantage of recording things online. We can do it both from our favorite places where we want to do the recording,
Yeah.
and at the time that works. And for
Yeah.
this today, that's a Saturday.
Yeah.
Um, Netra, before we jump into the questions, what do you want people to know about you?
Um, I would start with my name.
Mm-hmm.
So my full name is Nethravathi Ananda. It's quite difficult
Mm-hmm.
to pronounce for everybody. So my preferred name is Nethra. And especially there's one funny thing about it. My mom used to call my full name only when she's angry, which means I've done a serious mistake. And so whenever somebody calls me with full name, I think it's just an instinct. Did I do a mistake? So my preferred name is Nethra. I react immediately without any fear. you know
Mm.
and yeah, I have been with Agile journey for a while now, happily, I would say. And before that, I was software engineer and a project manager, mostly with the automotive domain. And
Mm.
I also explored the IT domain. One motivation for that is my husband. So I'm personally married. I have a child of 12 years old, and my husband is a
Wow.
very technical kind of person, so he's deep into IT. And so we keep hearing AI and things at home quite often. And so because of that, I also explored the IT software industry for a while,
Mm.
just a couple of years. But I think I was more connected to the automobile car
Mm.
software. That's where I was. But uh, now I am currently with automotive domain, but I'm exploring the hardware bits of it. And having agile in such environment is definitely a quite a learning for me, and quite a lot of challenges around it. Yeah, it's like redoing things what was doing a few years ago, but with a bit of different challenges. But when it comes to people, it's the same challenges. So that's that's the thing. But I really want to share that the moment when I was introduced to Agile. So I was in automotive company in starting of my career almost for a decade, and in between was when the Agile transformation started happening in the company.
Mm.
And there were mainly it was focused on lean transformation. So there were lean champions who used to come and work with us, the software engineers and project managers. And then I was the one who volunteered to support them, because I support them with all the data, in fact. So they wanted to understand how the department operates, what are the processes in place, right from meeting optimization to complex, solving complex issues behind the software development itself was the goal. Basically, process optimization was the goal,
Mm.
eliminating waste, as we all know. So when I started just as a person who's supporting them to give inputs on how we work, I realized that during that couple of months, I was highly influenced, I would say, because I thought this is a useful thing that we are doing, right? So, and the lady with whom I worked, she was the lean champion. Her name was Preeti, sorry, and she was, her energy was contagious, and I couldn't resist but just give it a try. I approached my leadership. I said I want to give it a try, and when I started working with departments to bring in the transformation, I think I found what I want to do professionally, and there's no turning back since then. So it was like a discovery moment for me that I want to do this. Yes, I want to do this, and then yeah, it's lovely there. And I'm just happy that I have met a lot of great people in this journey. Recently, also Vinny, who introduced me to this, who's the Agile series, and yeah, thanks to her as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much me.
That's
Uh,
already a
yeah,
pretty nice complete introduction, I would say.
all right.
With well, it's already nice to learn about your journey and the different steps that you took in a while. Let's go into that very first question. What
Yeah.
is something that people usually don't know about you, but has influenced you in who you are?
Right. It's maybe just my face or me talking too much that people put me into classical extrovert person. That
Mm.
chatty, outgoing, and saying yes for, and I'm up for anything when there's something good. But there is a little secret about me that not everybody knows about it. It's just that I also love spending time with myself a lot. So I kind of think it started when I was quite young. So in I have a younger brother, so I used to have a lot of the legendary squabbles with him day in and day out. And yeah, my mom used to make a very genius move. She used to just declare silent movement, no scolding, no talking, no discussion around the topic, but she used to just say no gadgets, no TV, no talking, just send my brother to one corner, to me to another corner, and say, you guys come back afterwards, right?
Mm.
So though it looked like punishment in the initial days, after a while I think it became my introspection zone, to be honest.
Mm.
So I think,
So
yeah,
that really helped you to recognize for yourself that okay,
yeah,
a kind of time out, but also just reflecting moment that is something that I
absolutely.
appreciate. Is that how the word that I should say?
Yeah, yes. It was time when I could reflect back. I could, in fact, kind of sit and figure out how I could have handled the situation better, how I could have been, chosen the words that I had to speak at that point of time. So, though it was limited to just the small fights and arguments in the beginning, later I
Mm-hmm.
think because the habit stuck, I could reflect through the day's issues, and it helped me build my problem solving approach. Initially I just used to get head first into it, but now I've learned to step back, view it from outside for a while, and then slowly approach it with a better understanding of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it has helped me also build my emotional intelligence, to be honest, because when I reflect and rewind, I'm trying to see how did I feel about it, what were my emotions, and that has
Mm.
helped me understand myself better, and I think it is helping me understand others to some extent because of that
Mm.
practice.
And did it help with the relationship with your brother? Because
Oh
yeah,
yes.
it started there.
Truly yes. I think he's one of my, I would say, best test friends so far. So
Mm.
anything, we know each other quite well. So I do see these memes and reels where the wife says, "I know my man," and the mom says, "I know him better." But then the sister is the one who really knows him in and out. We know is bad and good,
Yeah,
and yeah, it helped.
it
In
helps.
fact, he
So
says yeah, he doesn't. I mean, he being him doesn't express out things, but when he comes to me when there's an issue, or when he's been there for me when I have had some downtimes
Mm.
in life, it just says it all. So it helps build trust.
So
Yeah.
that's so a big thank you to your mother, I would say,
Yes. Oh,
to
yes.
create that in a way that
Yeah.
worked for both of you, or at
Yeah.
least it worked for you and it
Yeah.
helped you with your
Yes.
relationship with your brother. So that's
Absolutely.
already a very nice answer to that
Yeah.
that first question. Let's move to that second question. If you had not been doing what you've been doing now, do you have any idea what could have become of you? Was there something that the little you was destined to become, or that you wanted to become?
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
The little me, and even now, maybe, I always wanted to be a teacher.
Mm.
Um, uh, um, I mean, my reasoning might be quite not too sure. I think I just was too inspired by them when during my schooling times in my childhood. And I think even I met quite efficient professors as I went ahead in my uni. So I always felt that they just were not teaching the curriculum. I have always had the experience of building my confidence, resilience, or any life skill that you take, or social emotional skill. I think my teachers have a very very big role in that one. So I wanted to be like them. That's when I wanted to be a teacher, and I really enjoy sharing the knowledge that I have with others. And I think that kind of makes me feel that if I were not a Scrum Master today, which also involves greatly a large part as
Mm.
other teacher qualities, I would say, I would have been a teacher. In fact, I really want to share a funny thing. So, because I did my schooling in India, and the Teachers' Day used to happen on September 5th every year. And that day, it is more than sending an thank you email, we used to get to do role play. Okay, so we could dress up like teachers, and then we could go teach the primary kids because we were in
Mm.
secondary school. So I used to, we had the choice to be any teacher that day we want to be, and I always chose my math teacher because she kind of made me do believe in myself that I could handle math in much greater ways than I thought. So I used to dress up like her. I tried to wear glasses like her, and then I used to mimic her voice and then go teach the children that day. And
Wow.
yeah, it was yeah, it showed that I really wanted to be a teacher right from that. I used to teach my brother. I used to teach the neighbor kids, and I used to volunteer as tutor to teach some underprivileged kids at some point of time. When I started working initially, it was a company initiative, but I always volunteered that I go and teach the kids there. So I just enjoy teaching.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. And
Yeah.
indeed, in the profession that you're in now,
Hmm.
as a Scrum Master, there
Yeah.
is a lot about, well, the way the name was invented was it's not the master of Scrum in the say that you own it, but more
Yeah.
as in, okay, you're the master that will teach
Yeah.
something like having in yeah, depending on again that
Yeah.
word master might have a lot of connotations with people, but the
Yeah.
way I've seen it, it's always like helping out others and teaching and bringing them new knowledge
Yes.
about
Yes.
this agile world. So that's in that sense, you are partially a teacher, but in a different environment, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, but it's interesting also when you say, okay, you could choose a teacher, and so you
Yeah.
could dress up and you could
Yeah.
really imagine yourself as
Yes.
that teacher.
Yes.
Is that something, that style of that teacher, that math teacher,
Yeah.
that you take on to still today, for example, when you teach people about Scrum or other things?
Yes, yes, I do. Because I was the one who used to, if I can't solve a problem, I give up. I would say, no, no, this is not for me. I just leave it. I want to run away from it. And when I was teaching some of the kids as part of the charity program, I have come across many of the kids have this issue, right? They start crying and they're like, no, I don't get it. This is not my path. This is not what it is. And but yeah, over and over a period of time, when we start appreciating their efforts, when we start appreciating their small wins, uh, there are moments when they say, okay, I get it now. And that's very magical about teaching. So, and one lesson that I feel that I've taken from my math teacher is, she always said, if you want to learn something, right, there should be curiosity, and you should be brave enough, and you need, of course, an environment that supports this learning. And when I think about how I approach taking the Scrum knowledge to my team, the Agile knowledge to my team, I think pretty much I kind of try to build curiosity in there. I try to use the principles of being courageous and brave. We try and tender that in the teams. And then, the process and tools is one part of it. But as I said, building that confidence, those are the things that matter more when it comes to building that mindset to be able to appreciate it and learn. So I have used that approach. I've been largely influenced where you try your best to uncover the potential that is in somebody. So I think that's what ma'am used to do, and many of my professors that I've come across. I think I've been really lucky that I have. Even till today, I am in touch with some of the teachers, and I am I still wish happy teachers day to them, because I'm really grateful to what I've learned from them, and it largely helps me in my profession, in earning the money that I'm earning because of what I learned in as part of teaching.
Yeah, and I can imagine, well, when you said that if you couldn't do something, you wanted to give up,
Yeah.
that's almost the opposite. That's what a Scrum Master needs to do, because we're
Yeah.
helping others solving
Yeah.
the unsolvable, or the things that people feel blocked by.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, then giving up too quickly
Yeah.
might not help anyone.
No.
Not that everything is solvable. That's another discussion. But yeah, the goal of
Yeah.
the goal. I'm not sure if it's a goal, but
Yeah.
the idea is indeed we'll try to make things better, and not give up at first. Because that's what I heard. It's not just giving up. It's giving up too early that you did
Yes.
when you were younger.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and that is something that is something we either need to learn um, or not learn to give up early, because that's sometimes I have the feeling that children, when they're really young, really babies, that they keep trying, and somehow we teach them not to just give up or whatever, or we solve things for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So going back to that state where you keep trying is
Yeah.
really wonderful if you have teachers that help you with that. So.
Yes, absolutely. I could grow out of it. I really could grow out of it. And now, when I am teaching my son, or when I notice that he's interested in art, and when he's drawing something, and if it doesn't come up like how he wants, he just throws away that paper, and I'm like, don't give up, and he just wants to walk away. I mean, it can be a break. Unless he comes back to it, I'm okay with it, because I think that is what we need to grow out of. What you said, giving up at certain stage, maybe pros and cons, assessing logically, that's another thing, but giving up early is something which we all have to overcome, in case that's the thing that is blocking our progress, right? So that's absolutely right.
Yeah. So that tells you again that you're actually paying it forward to teach your son that same thing that
Yeah.
your teachers teach you. So
Yeah.
that's a nice way of
Yeah.
looking at it as well. Let's move to that next question, because
Yeah.
this was already a challenge, and so we're
Yeah.
talking about challenge. What do
Yeah.
you consider your biggest challenge, and why is that a good thing for you?
Yeah. I can say too many personal challenges. Sometimes I'm lazy, and other small things. But I would like to mention about the professional challenge as well, because I think it would not be too different from what other agilists could be facing. It's the change of mindset that we try to bring in, and the chaos or the mess around it, around the change. Right. That's the challenge with agile. Um, so what I've noticed is that we have to break this myth of looking good, right? We don't want a perfect stand up. We don't want a perfect retro where you have only achievement section and which says there's nothing to improve. Yeah, that might be the end goal, but it is not realistic, because it's always churning. The work is changing, everything's changing, people are changing. But if we look at the change only as change of process, I think bringing the mindset change, or handling the mess around the change is a challenge for me. And I would say it's a good thing. I really look at it as an opportunity, because for me this challenge is exposing the growing pain of the team. So for example, if somebody says that the stand-ups are just sit-in sessions where people are just complaining about everything, then it's an opportunity to see that, are you trying to bring in the value with the stand-up meeting or not, or is it happening just for the sake of needs to be done because only process has been changed, right? So it exposes the truth behind why things are this way. It also allows us an opportunity to ask, why is it in this way? How can we improve together? So unless these things are addressed, I don't think we are talking or doing any justice to the transformation in terms of bringing that mindset change in people. So uh, if a team, I have this recent experience where a team feels that all this agile and scrum, and that's all they know. They think agile, scrum and jira is the same thing. That's how it is perceived. It's also our duty that we tell them it's not a just a framework we are talking about here, but that's another discussion. But what happened is the team felt all this is a big setup for micromanagement. So that's the mess around the change here. That's the chaos here, that people are feeling it is to monitor them at micro levels, to monitor how much capacity they have, to how much work is happening by their end. But unless we touch upon that mess, unless we get into it, we don't understand that maybe this team is in norming to performing stage, and maybe they are craving autonomy. Maybe they are cross functional at some extent. Maybe they don't need every comment on the Jira to be captured, like how it is being pushed out from. So maybe this team is in our, the shuhari. Maybe it's in the stage where everything is intuitive and, you know, uh, it is innovation that we are talking about. But maybe because of the boundaries, we are still talking about capturing certain things in a document. So this way, I think bringing in that mindset change is the biggest challenge. But at the same time, this is a biggest opportunity, because without this we are never going to get onto the problems that we need to solve in this journey. So that's my strong belief. We need this chaos, we need these dysfunctions to happen.
And your challenge is, of course, not just your challenge, it's a
No,
challenge for a lot of others, or for a lot of us, I would say.
I think so.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So that second part of that question was, why is that the good thing for you? What's so good about this challenge for you?
Because that's where I can add value, because that's where I can do my job, to be honest. It is for anybody to just facilitate a stand up, if that's the Scrum Master's job. But if I am able to see what's the chaos around people not coming in stand up, or people not speaking in a stand up, that's a good thing for me, because that gives me an opportunity to reach out to them and ask them what is the real issue behind it. So that's where we can bring in the change in the mindset of people. Or maybe if there's a product owner, and there is a product backlog in whichever tool we use. There is a sprint backlog. Everybody is talking the Scrum terms, but say we are still talking about a backlog just being a glorified to-do list. We are not considering what is the value that we are delivering. So there are my chances. So that is the place where I have to bring in the transformation in the mindset of people, in seeing that it is not about transferring your requirements document into another tool. That is not we are talking about today, right? We are talking about how are you able to prioritize things and deliver something which means something to the customer, right? It has we So focusing or changing the focus from just working software, I would say, to working software that is valuable to customer.
Hmm.
That is what I mean when I say that we need to bring in that change in mindset. And it is a good thing for me, because it just allows me to do my job better, and do justice to it, right? That's the big thing.
Yeah, I like that really. That's it's the yeah, what you just said about the soft. It's not just the software, but it's yeah. I can't repeat your exact words, but I just love the way you said it. So it's really that's where we look for that value. It's not
Yeah,
just writing that code, but it
yeah,
should be valuable for the customer, and
so,
that could mean a lot of different things. And yeah, so that's really why am I in this profession, just to help out people. So I really like that what you're saying there, and I feel that drive, I feel that passion. So that brings me automatically to that next question. Do you know where that drive, where that passion is coming from? Was that something that was always in you already, or where did it came from?
yeah. I wouldn't claim that just helping people was there from birth naturally. No, it was not. But I think it was definitely watching my mom, handling her difficulties as a strong woman. So it was like my mom managed to bring the two kids, and she managed to give us such a great education, that she could also manage to send us to universities. She herself not being well educated at that point of time, and she did manage to get into a job just for survival sake. But the way she sacrificed things without really expecting any fanfare, or the way she loves unconditionally. And it was not just limited to us children. I have seen her just helping out anybody in need. So somebody comes to door asking something, for food or something, she would just provide. And it's not that she would choose a leftover food to give it to them, but something that would mean a bit less portion for everybody else. But then she's also ensuring that the help is done. And
Hmm.
sometimes it's not just about, I've seen her just talk to some of the neighbors, where she used to encourage them or tell them things which makes them feel confident again. So she invested time in just helping others, though she was quite occupied from morning to night working herself. But she made sure that she is of some use to somebody at all point of time. I think that drives me, that little voice in me, which says that, how can I make today matter to someone, right? And
Hmm.
when I just see that somebody in the team is growing more confident day by day because of the way we have all been interacting, or say somebody who has never spoken up starts to speak in a retro. It's a small thing, but if they start to speak in a retro, opening up because of the psychological safe space that we were able to create for them, I think that fuels me. Or just any training that you have done, and then somebody mentions that it was of use for them, they could use it. And I'm not talking about a technical tool training, which is expected to be used in certain manner. I'm talking more human or soft skill. So it's not easily measurable, right? But if they say
Hmm.
they use that and it is of help to them, so I think those are kind of things that raises my oxytocin, I would say. So that's my fuel. It just feels nice and good and myself when I help somebody, because that's how I think I've seen my mother, and I want to be like her. And I think it's the secret desire to be somebody's like her or somebody's like him. for rest of the world as well. So I sometimes, when I tuck in my son onto the bed, I wonder, does he think that I am his somebody like her, for him, right? Like how I look upon my mother. She was quite a leader, so I couldn't go on there. I think everybody kind of is greatly inspired from their parents.
The parents,
Yeah,
yes.
and for me,
And I
it's my
heard, and I hear
yeah.
you had two of these role models because you also before talked about your teacher
Oh
that was
yes,
also so
yeah,
inspiring you to help out you,
yeah,
and that inspired you to help
yeah,
others. So
yeah,
maybe not from birth, but
yeah,
already when you were allowed that chance to teach others, you
yeah.
also wanted to help them. So
Yes,
I have the feeling that yeah, it's been already for a while in you,
yeah.
and you were looking for ways on, and you found a job where you could really do that. So that's
Absolutely. That's the good part for me. That's the happy part. That's why I said I have this agile journey happily done, irrespective of the issues that we face day in and day out. I'm not saying that it's all, it's not a bed of roses. We have those
hmm
thorns pricking us when you have to have those tough conversation with leaders, or when sometimes you can't say things you want to say because of certain constraints. There are moments like that. There are challenges, but at the core, when I am helping somebody, I feel that fulfillment in bits and parts every day, and that keeps me going. I want to do it more. Yeah, I want to do.
I recognize that it's yeah, the feeling like oh, thank God it's Friday. I've never had since I've been doing agile. It's indeed yeah, and of course there are bad days, and of course there are people that sometimes make you say why, but yeah,
Yeah,
in general it's helping out people, and yeah, so I get that, and the people that make me be frustrated, it's typical because they see some problems, they know it very well what the problems are,
yeah,
but they haven't found a way how to deal with them themselves,
yeah,
and somehow yeah, they don't let us help, or yeah, so but I recognize that part, the giving help to others,
yeah,
so that is a
yeah,
very nice thing.
yeah.
Let's talk about these challenges. What do you
Mhm.
consider at this moment your biggest challenge, at least the biggest challenge you want to be openly on? Sorry, we talked already about the
Yeah,
challenges.
yeah.
Let's talk about the achievement.
Oh,
What's your biggest achievement so far?
okay.
What and for me, when I ask this question on the podcast,
Hmm.
the I've noticed that basically this is your moment to brag and to be really proud, and is that easy for you? Because I've noticed that for some people it's hard. So.
Um, no, it isn't easy for me, um, because I'm not sure why, but yeah, it is not so easy for me. So when there are personal statements that are asked when you have to do your higher studies, that's the difficult part to fill in. What have you achieved so far? Because sometimes for me, I don't know if I'm undermining it or if it feels like it was something that I was supposed to do as part of my role or a part of being human. But so I don't want to, I don't have any on the stage trophy kind of achievements to share in this forum, but I definitely want to share those small wins, the little wins that have had some impacts that last longer. So one such thing is wherein my hard work paid off. That is while I was preparing for a global certification in project management professional, the PMP certification. I think 1 or 2% worldwide managers have this certification done, because it used to be. I'm not too sure how is it now, but it used to be quite hard. Exam to clear through that one. So I remember studying hard for it, preparing hard for it, linking the theory knowledge to the practical experience I was having as a manager, and then yeah, that is kind of achievement. If I have to speak in terms of certification and things. But I do have a few certifications, but this one is something where I really put my effort down, where I had to commit certain hours of studying each day, apart from regular work and household activities. But rather than this is just my self achievement. I feel good about it. I feel proud about it, right? But I also have moments where, for example, um, one of my teachers from 2003, that's when I learned chemistry in school. They called me. The sir just rang me and he said, "Are you able to guide my son through how the corporate world is and things, because he's got a job?" Right? And then when I spent that 1 hour with the young kid, telling him how it could be, what were my experiences, what were the mistakes I did, and where he had opportunities to do better. And I also invested some time studying how it is nowadays with Gen Z, right? I mean, I need to understand those aspects as well. So what made me happy is that my sir has taught many batches from 2003. It is so many of them, and because it was a recognized school, I know people are there who have achieved much more than what I've done. But the line he called out was, he said, "Nethra, I'm approaching you because I see that you are a very hardworking person." That's how he remembers me. So one thing is, I am grateful to my teachers, is okay, but when the teacher said he still remembers me and he approached only few people and I was one among them, it feels like an achievement for me. And it feels too nice. I was really happy that day. I kept telling my husband, I think more than once, saying that I can't believe he reached out to me. He was quite strict a teacher, right? He was quite a strict teacher, not with too many facial expressions and happiness expressed, but he used to be a bit of a poker face. So I could never judge if he likes us or not. But yeah, it feels like an achievement for me. There's one thing which I also want to share, because this person told that I was able to rewrite his story. In terms, he said that you're a life coach, and that meant a lot for me. It feels like an achievement because this is pre-COVID time in the organization I was working. I was just working as a project manager back then, and this team member was always late for everything. So it did look at the surface to everybody else that it is a disciplinary issue, right? And uh, it's a problem when one person in your team has disciplinary issues, and there is a quite a tough situation in just allowing or exempting them from continuing it, right? Because there's questions from other members. So, but I knew that I somehow felt that this person has potential because I'd seen his work. His work is good, but keeping to deadlines was not something that he was able to do at that point of time. So coffee over coffee, I think he opened up, and then after a year, because I moved on to other organization, and he continued there. After a year, he called me and he said, whatever help you did at that point of time, seeing me beyond that tip of iceberg where it just looked like some issue, but because you helped me, it was not that I could solve any of his problems. It is him who did his hard work and figure out how to navigate his problems. But he said, "You're just a lifesaver," because he was not only out of the performance improvement plan, because it's generally a threat to the job itself, but he needed the job very badly at that point in time, but he also got a pay rise. So he said, you he just thanked me, and I felt very emotional at that point of time. So that's still an achievement for me, because if I could make a difference to somebody, um, I think just makes me feel good. It, it's an achievement for me. I don't know if it falls in that category, but personally for me, I'm happy about it, and so it's an achievement that I've done.
For me, I on purposely don't define. I sometimes get
Yeah.
questions from people saying, what do you mean? What can I use?" And I refuse to answer that question, because for me it's like, this is about what you consider an achievement, and
Yes.
that is much more important. And this is with yeah, I've published now what is it, 178 or 79 conversations, and
Yeah.
they're going in all directions, and that's why I like it so much. It shows the variety, it shows the diversity of what people can feel as an achievement. And um, yeah, and somehow as little children we might think, oh, the achievement is getting in the world,
Yeah.
the general the world book of records, and or having in the Olympics or whatever. But sometimes achievements can be in the small things that we're really happy, and changing someone's life
Yeah.
is beyond small. I mean, that's a big thing. And I think if yeah, everybody who can change a life in a big way with small actions, because in a way it's not big actions and it's big actions. It's taking the time to listen to someone is small and big at the same time. And yeah, I'm not surprised that it has a huge impact. So
Yeah.
that's really wonderful when people come back and tell you that. And
Yeah.
that I think is really important. So
Yeah.
that's nice. Let's move to that next question. What
Yeah.
do you consider, or do you have a personal agility tip that you want to share?
Yes, yes. My shout out is to transparency. I think it's
Mm,
kind of not spoken about widely, but for me, the secret sauce is not velocity but visibility. I've used this line even with my teams that I worked with.
mm,
I say, please don't chase velocity. It will come automatically. It may not come. We're not chasing that. Let's all try and talk about visibility, because for me myself, my biggest breakthrough came when I was being radically transparent, not just with others but with myself. That's where it started. So
mm,
I started seeing that when we practice it relentlessly, there is the ripple effect it creates. So once you start being transparent, it somehow helps others surrounding you to mimic the same behavior, and then this builds trust, right? When everybody is speaking what's there, with what's visible, and then they're also speaking things which we're hiding but now we are showing it openly. Then there is kind of trust that builds in the team, and then everything becomes easier. Right, it becomes easier. We have that psychological space created, safe space created, where we can all discuss problems openly. But without that transparency in the first stage, I think it is always a superficial discussion. Even in personal life, say when we have a conflict, say me and my husband have a conflict, if I'm just, we are talking superficially, blaming each other for a while, there's nothing that's going to change. But
mm,
once we start saying that, once we are showing ourselves as vulnerable, saying that, okay, I have this issue with me and this is where it started off with, right? Or just being open that yes, I did feel jealous. It's a negative trait, but I did feel it. I can open up and be
mm,
transparent to him. I think that's when a bit of humanity and considerations comes out, and we understand that nobody is perfect, and then it becomes, a happy thing, happy ending. And even at work, the the power of transparency, I would say, is that over a duration of time, even the challenges turn into opportunities. So once we are clear about, once we have exposed what's the underlying problems, what is happening, I think then we can look at, the mindset automatically becomes about solving them. And then that is where I say challenge becomes an opportunity with transparency. So transparency is something that I highly value of. I've used it, I use it, I propagate it, I would say. That's my agility tip.
I really like that. And yeah, your quote, not velocity but visibility. Yeah, I'm going to use it as well, because I like that it's
Yeah.
really, because like you say, once you get visibility, even if you're visible about the small little things,
Yeah.
both the good and the bad,
Yeah.
you can get to that velocity and much more to that. And it's that basic. And indeed, when we
Yeah.
talk about, if I see teams that struggle with velocity and struggle with, I don't want to set story points,
Mm.
it's typically because they struggle with transparency and visibility
Absolutely.
on how hard things are, and moving away from yeah, from velocity but moving it to visibility helps much more, and
Right.
I like that idea very very much. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah.
a great agile tip, I would say. Let's
Yeah.
move to
Yeah.
remote working. What have you learned about remote working? And you already briefly talked a little bit that before you mentioned the COVID word already. A lot of
Yeah.
us that had our first experiences remote at that time. Was that same for you, or did you do remote working before?
No, I did a bit of remote working while I was on child raising leave, which was
Mm-hmm.
partially paid and I could work from home. But it was not a concept that was quite familiar or known. So I did feel it was very tough at that point of time because there is no trust at all. At that point of time, I'm talking nearly a decade ago, right? But now, post COVID times or the COVID times, no, no matter how hard it has been, it has affected so many lives in not a nice way. We know about it, but for corporate industry, when we had to continue with our business as part of business continuity, when we changed to, you know, work from home structure, I think it has had its own advantage, right? So, though initially we had some, at least in my company, when this happened, we had a big problem of transitioning a lot of desktops to laptops. So, we had to provide laptops to people, and it was not easy considering that where red zones are created, there was no easy transportation available. So, they were just the starting operational issues. But for today, if you ask me, what do you think about remote working? I would say it's real, it's doable, there's no myth around it, right? And it's very practical, and laptop is meant for that. You can just carry it anywhere, and you can have all the softwares in it, and you can talk to people. The technology is no longer like earlier where there were challenges with it. But right, even this session we are doing it at our comfort. But if I had to make a travel to your place, or if you had to make a travel to my place, it would be easily some cost and time, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that is an encouraging factor to do any work. I've never seen anybody, even myself, happily smiling in the bus to reach my office. It doesn't work like that. There is physical exhaustion with travel, unless you are staying very close to office. I don't say that it is not required to have office buildings at all. No, we still may need in small capacity, just so that it's nice to get in touch with people once in a while, at least for the coffee. It not need necessarily be for meetings, because meetings can happen, the work can go on with the remote working, because ultimately it is about how much are you connected to the other person who is relevant to your work, and how much is your work transparent to them, how much is their work transparent to you. I think that's the key factor. You may be sitting beside somebody in the office and not know what that person is doing, and you may still have to ask that question to him. So working in office doesn't automatically enable transparency, or it doesn't automatically enable any kind of productivity. No, it doesn't work like that in my
Mm-hmm.
experience. So it is comes down to people, I would say. So wherever we are, we work.
Individuals
Yeah.
and interactions over processes and tools. It's a big
Yes.
surprise.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Indeed,
Yeah.
but yeah, but it's a wonderful indeed to look at that. And yes, we would not have this conversation without the tools and being remote. It would be, yeah. I can invite everybody, and everybody that visits Belgium can join my house. That's very. That's if I know upfront, then we can arrange it. I'm loving having agile people
Yeah.
around me. But it's so much harder to set it up with cameras and everything, and we both have everything set up in our own homes or wherever we work from.
Yeah.
So this is actually so much easier. And yes, we're recording this on a Saturday, but the moment this is finished, I go back to my family. You go back to whatever you want to go to,
Yeah.
and that works perfectly for
Yeah.
these kind of
Yeah.
conversations and
Yeah.
for a lot of work things as well. So
Yes.
that's really a wonderful way to look
Yes.
at that.
Yeah.
I want to go to a book, and I know you sent me two books at some point, or two
Yeah.
different times you sent me a book. So let's start with the first one, and we'll come back to what's a book that you have read you want to talk about. which is
Yeah.
the one you want to talk about?
Okay. The one book close to me, I have it here all the time, is Coaching Agile Teams by Lisa Atkins.
Hmm.
I think,
This one?
yes, absolutely, that one. I like the cover page as well. I like the words, choice of words in the book, because it just feels at some point of time when I'm reading it, it's as if I've written it. I'm not taking
Hmm.
anybody's credibility away, but couple of lines here and there, which makes so much sense to me that it just feels like, oh, they're my lines. They seem like my own lines. So if a book connects to you like that, I think it just becomes your favorite one. So well, I wish to read too many other books, but
Hmm.
I just am, as I said, among too many challenges. I think I may not be capable enough to make time to go through a book from end to end. So that's the reason I have very limited knowledge about the books. But I do read blogs and videos and all the LinkedIn posts that comes across. I'm reading at good at reading, all the blocks that come in, because it takes 5 to 10 minutes of time and it doesn't ask for long term commitment. But a book is something that asks for it, and I'm struggle managing my time at some point of time.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I've used to read lots of books when I was still young, 13,
Hmm.
14. At some point, I read one book a day.
Yeah.
Very unhealthy. I wouldn't advise anyone. But then it was kind of normal or natural to make
Hmm.
time. These days, I think with social media and lots of other things, it's already a lot harder. But just sitting down and taking time to read, it takes a different kind of
Yeah.
habit.
I understand.
I'm
Yeah.
into, yeah. I'm now started to. I started recently writing an iOS app, which I've never done. So I also bought a book to learn some more about it, and I'm in
Hmm.
the habit of reading one chapter a day,
Hmm.
which is really really hard. I failed yesterday, so okay, I know why, because but yeah, reading a book is really hard these days, and so I understand that
Yeah.
blogs and everything, and the book that you mentioned,
Yeah.
well, Lisa, and I want to, every excuse I have to bring Lisa, I'll put her as well. So
Yeah.
I had a really wonderful conversation where
Okay.
she talked also about the future of agile and a lot of other different things. But what I said in that conversation is something I want to repeat, is that I've read the book originally, the
Hmm.
agile coaching book, when she published it, and then I listened during the COVID. During
Hmm.
COVID, she recorded the audio version of it, and that was then, yeah, what is it, 10 years later,
Audible.
something
Yeah.
like that. And I listened to the audio conversations, and I was like, wow, is that also in the book? And that's did she change anything? And she said to me, I didn't change any word of it. So it's really literally what's in there, what's originally is in there. And I
Yeah.
was indeed again surprised by the vast knowledge about certain of these wordings and everything, and how much time she had invested
Yeah.
in yeah. I'm still indeed now I think the book is 15 years old. It
Yeah.
still is a wonderful book that I advise to a lot of
Absolutely.
people.
Yes.
So yeah, really
Yeah.
wonderful book
Yeah.
to
I
have.
I I enjoy the lines. Some lines are just got. It's those lines when I said it feels like, it's your line, because some lines which say that you can't give someone something when you don't have it, right? It
Hmm.
might sound philosophical and things like that, but it is highly a practical guide. When it comes like that, it's practical plus humanity combined in a way where she explains that if you don't model a leadership behavior yourself, there's nothing you can change, right? That there's you have nothing to give if you can't model it by yourself. So
Hmm.
things like that, and calling that, um, there can be a book or there can be a blog that talks about how to do agile coaching and things like that. But I think she brings out beautifully that agile coaching is also a path to mastering ourselves, something on those lines, which says that those are the moments when you also open up yourself to servant leadership, right? So those bits, I find it very very beautiful, and I connect to it, right? And my challenge that I was mentioning about having dysfunctions, I was amazed when I read the line which said, "Dysfunctions are the price you pay," or something like admission price you pay for high performing teams. And that's so true. Unless we address the pains, we are going nowhere, right? If you want a high performing team as your goal, then it is only possible by navigating through the pains, by understanding what it is and trying to resolve, not as a magical superstar by ourselves, but by people themselves, right? So I think I appreciate the book really very much, and it's a go-to, right? You get something, you just go read that a bit and then you're motivated and you're like, okay, this is the right path. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
nice.
I recognize that, and
Yeah.
the book is somewhere there. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know where it exactly is. It's there somewhere, because it's one that I regularly go to. That's one of the advantages or disadvantages of having such a library, is that when I pick up a book, I don't always put it back some at the exact same location. So it helps me in my diversity in finding books. But sometimes when I want to point to a book, like in a conversation like this, it's a little bit harder. And you had another book you wanted to bring back, and that's also a classic. So what's the other book that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, that was on retrospectives, making good teams great. So the
And
title itself,
that's
catchy.
this one, and this is the
Yeah,
two versions, because
yeah,
they're just is in a second. Well, just I think it's
yeah,
already more than a year out
yeah,
old.
yeah,
The second edition.
yeah,
So again, two wonderful ladies, Esther and Diana,
yes,
written.
yeah,
Yeah, again a wonderful book. This is actually,
yeah,
I think, a little bit older than the previous one.
yes.
So what do you like so much about that book?
So when I started off my Scrum journey, maybe other events were quite understood, I would say, just on how to
Hmm.
execute part, not really getting into changing people aspect when I started off, but just considering the change, how to do the events. But retro was something which felt okay. There is a sprint review that you go through. You're showing your product to customer. What is the retro serving as a purpose then? Right? So, but understanding retro, understanding how do you set the stage for it, how do you go through it, and the relevance of it, uh, you know, for the transformation, for bringing in that mindset change. It's one of the tools there, right? Every event is a tool, but retro is something that is kind of a heartbeat one, because that is the one where it is highly people centric. That is the one where transparency is at its peak. So, or we should bring the transparency at its peak in that session. So it tells us where to start with, how you can go about. It also serves as some practical guide, giving us some of the templates out. And it does make sure to mention that, if you stick with one thing, say you're doing always start, stop, continue with your teams, it's going to get boring at some stage, right? And then uh, that's only to in it. So it also talks about engaging people in these sessions. So that was something, a learning for me, like in the very beginning when I read the book. So it helped me look at retro in a more meaningful way, I would say, where I could have a takeaway that I could experiment with the team. And then uh, uh, some teachings, like if you see something coming up in a retro again and again, it means that you're not doing any actionable, you're not planning as a team, as a group, on actionable items at all. Yeah, that's something to reflect on. So if I'm hearing the same thing again and again and again, it means somewhere that it's not just about your facilitation or something, but it's about how are we approaching things as a team, as a group. So a lot of practical learnings from that book, which I could apply, and then refer back whenever I needed some information. So that's what I like
Yeah,
about that book.
yeah. And meanwhile, lots of books have been published about retrospective, but I keep going back to this one, even the new edition.
Yeah,
Some changes,
yeah,
more also on remote,
mhm,
but yeah, it still is a very important
yeah.
book on
A
that.
good guide. Yes.
So let's move to, for me, a very interesting question to ask my guests
Mhm.
about What question do you think I should also ask you, and what's the answer?
I this would be really instantaneous now because I couldn't get time to go through till that point.
Mm,
So but something that comes to my mind is definitely on yeah, is agile dead, the trending topic
mm,
from few years on. I think the LinkedIn was just bombarded with this one for few weeks. When I open anything, I'm just and the AI brings up only such topics because I have been reading that for a while, right? So I think that's the question you could ask me: is agile dead? So that I could have an
yeah.
opportunity to share how I
So
feel about it.
so how do you feel? Is agile dead? Where are we in that?
Right. So I just heard this from another agile coach recently in one of the lunch and learn sessions. She used this line where she said, "Agile with capital A might have its bubble burst, but agility with that small a is not gonna,
Mm,
die or finish off, because that's not how things work." And so I could kind of relate to it based on what I've read. Some things is I can understand when somebody outside of the agile community wants to say that agile is dead, because maybe the transformation didn't work for the company, maybe the transformation benefits could not be reaped for the money that was invested in. I do understand that coming as a complaint, but where I feel a little confused is when such things are coming from within the community. Within the community, when there is a group of people who claim that agile is dead, that is where the confusion starts. And we can't rule out that because they may have some basis to mention it. So I feel that the reduced number of jobs on Scrum Masters and Agile coaches, or kind of the Scrum conferences and things not having that much attendance as before. So maybe there are indicators which kind of making some of them feel that Agile is dead. I'm not saying they're wrong, but agile as such is not a brand, not a destination, not like a recipe to sell to somebody, right? It's
mm,
not like a cake where you say you throw the flour in and you get the cake out and this is what it is. No, that's not. If we perceive it like that, yeah, there's a bubble burst time. For anything, it becomes one of the trending things, and then which dies out with time. But what we are talking about is, um, does the business leaders still need teams to be cross functional, to be highly performing, to concentrate on customers? Yes, I think that's still the goal of any business leader if you just interview any one of them. And from team perspective, from an employee perspective, do you want to be in an organization that is talking about people, that is talking about empowerment? Yes, I want to be in such a company. Unless the answers for these are yes from both the ends, I don't think we should kind of claim that agile with capital A or small a or doesn't matter is dead. We, if we don't like it, we may not call it as agile or scrum or kanban,
mm,
DSDM, whatever 101 frameworks we have. I know it's also sometimes too much proliferation of certificates and too many frameworks that we create, that can make people feel that, okay, this is too much. But what we are talking about is really human centric. We are talking about making customer the center of the whole picture, and technology as a supporting guide, and then people who are empowered, and then are customer centric. That meets the business goals. And we are not saying don't think about profit. Agile is not about saying let's all be kind and empathetic. Those are all the ways, those are all the basics
mm,
to in your journey. But everybody wants has the same goal, shared goals of achieving those business goals. But how do we do it? Do you want to do it in a manner where that is not so pleasant and that's not giving value, or do we want to achieve these goals faster by fail fast learn fast methods, by empowering the team, by trying and allowing space for innovations? Then it's a different ball game, and then it's success. I would say it's a recipe for success. So unless we understand that, we can claim anything we want. But I think personally for me, nothing's dead. I think we are all still wanting, things to progress and it all to go back. As an individual, for me, I want to go back to my work, and that largely depends if the leadership is people centric, right? So it's kind of day to day motivation, I would say.
Yeah, and well, it's no surprise to me that through a little bit going back. So I started this questions or this podcast originally as a book version or even as a blog version where I send out not the 10, I think 8 of these questions out to people over email, and that this question, what's the question I should ask you in, was already in that first version, and then the answers went all over the place. And what I see in the podcast version is a lot of people talk about, is Agile dead? What's the future of Agile? Where are we? So I feel as a community that we care, that we feel indeed like, and I love the way you said it, the Agile with capital A, like that's the branding, and that's for me is not the real Agile. That's the how people make money, and I'm
Yeah.
also making money with Agile because it's my job. So yes, I'm not against it, but that's less um, what I care about. It's
Yeah.
indeed the agility, the way of thinking, the way of acting, the way of working. That is so much more important there, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm feeling. And indeed, you're not the only one that brings it up and wants to talk about it. So really wonderful. That's again another way of having lots of people talk about about in a way similar and in a way different kind of things. So I really love that
Yeah.
thing. So I want to move to already that last question. What is who do you think I should ask next? What's that person that or persons that you think I should invite?
Yeah, my favorite bit. So I would first mention about Lindsay Taylor.
And if
Uh,
I'm correct, this is Lindsay.
yeah, yeah, she's Lindsay. We had a very short stint together, but it was those moments where we just connected with one another. She's a Scrum Master as well, and it's what Agilist to Agilist frequency match. We shared the same pains, we shared the same understanding, and it was very valuable to kind of discuss with her what is the issues I'm facing and get a fresh approach from her end on how she would approach if she were in my position and vice versa. So, though a short stint because she went on with a personal goal of doing a world journey and then coming back to work.
Wow,
Yeah, she's
that's in
amazing.
itself already
Yeah,
again very nice
yeah.
and yeah.
So I'm still in touch with her. She's in a different organization now, but it's wonderful. She's a wonderful person who knows who has this knowledge of how to be empathetic and what are we looking at. She clearly is able to separate the problem from the person. So that's something that I could see whenever I discussed with her. So she would live out the person and try to see what's the problem in, and I think I appreciate that in her, and she would be a good audience. Good guest in your series.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay, and I know that you have already a couple of others, so
yeah,
let's. I'm going to just show the picture because that's a little bit easier than always
yeah.
making sure that I find the thing. So,
Okay.
who's and I hope I've correct. Who is this person?
So this is Swati Ramakrishnan. Swati, she's agile coach, and a highly energetic agile coach, and I would say a true agilist in my eyes because she's always sharing. She's telling things which are rationally correct, which is telling things which are humanly making sense. So I think I kind of connect with her, and she's been with various organizations in her career journey, and I think that rich experience makes her understand people in much better ways than I do. So I think she's a another great
Wonderful.
guest to have. Yeah.
All right, and let's bring on. Well, the next person. This is a little bit harder because I don't have a picture, but this
Okay.
is the picture that I've seen or that I can find about her,
Let's
and
see.
maybe that's some possible for you to recognize. Who do we? Who
Oh, I
should this
think
be?
this is Preeti. I'm talking about Preeti Donopedi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That wow. If people can recognize, so this is why I love this so much. So this is a person that decided I don't want to have my real picture, but at the same time it's recognizable enough for
Yeah.
the people that know her, and that's
Yeah.
why I like to play this kind of game.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm lucky that. That I selected the right person and that it's recognized. So
Yeah.
why should I invite her?
Um, she's the person who introduced me to Agile. Like I mentioned in the beginning, there was lean
Mm-hmm.
transformation in the organization, and she was the lean champion whose energy was so contagious and who recognized that I have these qualities that can make me useful in this community. So she was the one who exposed it's not some separate thing that you need to go and, kind of do a study for years together, because it was about changing from software development, a car software development, to doing these things, which really matched my strengths, matched my rational thinking. But she was the one who said, you should take it up, at least give it a go. There's no harm doing it. So I think for that reason, she is definitely a inspiring person for me. And a person to talk to. She's done a lot of book reading. I know she's very sincere and timekeeping. Yeah, much more disciplined than that I am. So she's
But she's also creating a safe space where I'm hearing that okay, there is no harm in trying.
yeah,
That's creating a
yeah,
very safe space,
yeah,
and of course it's not only her. That
yeah,
safe space was there also. Well, maybe not before her, but at least she helped create it,
yes,
and having a sentence like that. Okay, there is no harm in trying. That can really help people to get
yeah,
along and try a little bit. So that is a nice way, and
yeah,
so definitely already when you were talking earlier on about her, I was like,
yeah,
okay, I hope that the person is in your list. I didn't check it at that time, but I'm really happy
yeah,
that you. And then we have a fourth person
yeah.
whose is this.
Yeah. It's Leon Hendricks.
Mm-hmm.
Leon. When I moved to UK and started my career here, it's of course a different global setup. Though I'd never worked with UK clients or UK based employees before, so there is this cultural aspects that I have to unlearn and learn, so that I adapt. And when I joined the company as a Scrum Master, he was the agile coach. So Vinny was the agile coach for me as well. But with this program in the initial days, it was started with Leon, and he brought in so many actionable things to the team that helped me be accepted as a accepted easily. The team was open enough because of his experience and those actionable things that you could bring it quicker, I would say. The team was open, and it also made me my journey in the initial days quite easy. And it's a big thing that you have to break that barrier to be accepted by the team. But I would say because Leon was there, it made that journey easier. We could approach it together to reach to the team, to make them start off in a right way with agile transformation, and not just sharing Scrum framework or a Jira. Those are needed. I'm not undermining them, but together we could do a right start. I think the right start is very important when we start with transformation with the teams. So I say he helped me a lot in that one.
So that's definitely also sounds like a person I want to talk to. So wonderful to have this now. Nethra, it's been a wonderful time that we've been having.
Yeah.
So if people want to reach out to you and connect with you,
Mhm.
what would be a good way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, LinkedIn is definitely a good way to connect with me.
And if I'm correct, that should be your LinkedIn.
Yes,
So
yes,
so yeah, let me only, well, this is the only things left is for me to thank you for spending a Saturday morning, evening, not evening, morning, the early afternoon with me. It's been wonderful that you want to spend your Saturday with me instead of your family and doing other things. So really thankful that you want to spend this time with me and having such wonderful answers. So thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. I'm really, it is a privilege that you have done so many interviews. I know that there have been, I watched a couple of them. There are great people out there. And just to be part of that series is such a nice thing. And I would really like to thank Winnie again, because she's the one who said, no, you can do it. I said, I do have self doubts at time. No matter, I am a confident person, but then I do have the starting trouble or self doubt at
Mm.
times. And these are the wonderful people around me, including my husband and even my kid. He started saying, Mommy, you can do it. If you do it, I'll do my poem. And then I traded that with him. It felt like
Mhm.
in fact, also my mom, who just doesn't understand anything about all this, she said, "Go ahead, you should try it." Those lines make me feel that I should give it a try, and especially with you, you have made this so comfortable for me. I was initially a bit skeptical,
Mhm.
but I think naturally the conversation could flow because you asked the right questions to me, and then I was able to kind of say what I was aware about. So thank you, Eve. It's been wonderful. And also thank you for your time. Even you have taken out your time on a Saturday. So appreciate that. And yeah, join your family back. I'll do the same.
Well, with I want to go back because for me, indeed, I'm making time for both big names that are, yeah. There's a couple of people here who wrote originally the manifesto. There's a
Yeah,
couple of people. Well,
yeah,
the two books you talked about,
yeah,
all three ladies I've interviewed. So these are bigger names. But for me, as much as I like these people and as much as I like these stories, I
yeah,
also want to bring the stories for the agilists of the future. And for me, you're one of the examples of, okay, you talked about agile is not that. Yeah, maybe the branding, but the whole thing about helping people and making people finding out and helping them finding themselves, like with the stories that you said, this is why I'm doing it, because for me these are the stories that are worth telling and that people see like, hey, this is. And yeah, I've had a lot of people, even some of the big people, big names, are sometimes nervous because they're used to talking about their work, but this is much more personal,
yeah,
and
it
that
is.
sometimes makes people a little bit more nervous.
Yeah,
And yeah, I've discovered myself that apparently
yeah,
I'm rather good at making people feel at ease.
yes,
But for me, it's also easy because you bring such wonderful stories. So I'm just have to find a little bit some of the diamonds in the stories and ask some extra questions. But your story is just wonderful, and the way you talk about your mother, the way you talk about your child, your teacher, that's just wonderful ways, and that makes it very nice to have this conversation. So I think in that way we can both be happy with the end result. So thank you for
thank
that.
you so much. Thank you so much. That's a very humble comment. And have a lovely day. Thank you for having me once again.
Same to you. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
cheers. Bye bye.
Thank you for watching Who's Agile, where the stories of Agilists come to life. I hope you liked today's interview. Subscribe if you're not subscribed and want to get to know other Agilists.